If I could count on my hands the amount of times AOC has lied in the past week, I would. Well, you'd think I would be a freak because I would have a lot of hands, many hands.
We've got to cut through the noise.
I've said this before. I'll say it again. Amidst all this COVID craziness, and it's real. There's a lot of crazy things happening. A lot of things that a lot of people didn't imagine would ever happen in America are happening. People are being told you can't go to church. You can't enjoy the freedoms that the Constitution says are given to you by God, by nature. It's not up to the government. Now the government's saying, well, it's up to us, and you're not going to go. It's crazy. When you actually stop and slow down and think about it. And I've said this once, I'll say it again. During times of crisis, during times of craziness, I think now is a good time that applies to that. People show their true colors. They're going to show you who they really are. They're going to show you what their priorities are. But before we get into that, make sure that you are subscribed. Please do, and turn on notifications. If you like the content, simple request. If you don't do that, you'll never see any of my content again, because what we talk about on this channel is things that Google, YouTube, mainstream media, established media, they don't want you to know about. So make sure that you support us for kind of sticking our necks out there and taking a risk and talking about it anyways. I'm just gonna do it anyways, Google. Okay, let's get into this. During times of crisis, people show their true priorities. I can't think of anybody better that applies to this, kind of in a negative way, than Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez from New York. We all know this. We all know the story. She's super famous now. She's like one of the most well-known members of Congress, even though it's her first term. She's technically still a junior Congress member. But she's very well known. She has a large circle of influence, especially on social media. And during the past week, she has lied so many times. It's frustrating because she has that large reach on social media. And she lies right to your face. She doesn't even blink. She can lie straight off the hairs on her chinny chin chin. And you would not know it unless you do your own research, unless you look into the things that she's saying. You wouldn't know it. She lies. And one of the things that's been made abundantly clear is that she has no idea what she's doing. Like I said, she's junior Congress member, first term election, and now she has to deal with all this COVID craziness. I wouldn't want that job. I'll tell you that right now. I wouldn't want it. I wouldn't want to deal with that right when I'm first getting situated into my career in Congress. Nope, no thank you. She doesn't know what she's doing, but not only that, she's also shown that she doesn't know. She can't seem to make up her mind on not knowing what she doesn't know what she's doing, but she can't seem to make up her mind on what she doesn't know about. She keeps her narrative keeps flipping back and forth several times. It's crazy. We'll get into it. Okay. The first thing she said was in a tweet when the oil prices went down, like below zero, like our economy's not doing that great. There's no buyer confidence. She tweeted out, well, you just love to see this. It's something that you love to see. And I'll show you the tweet in a second, but The important thing here is that she realized it's probably not a good thing to celebrate millions of Americans, millions of your fellow patriots being out of a job. It's probably not a good thing to celebrate an economy that has no buyer confidence at all. It's just crumbling. It's probably not a good thing to celebrate. So what does she do? She does the Democratic thing and deletes. She realizes it's a bad look, deletes the tweet. Never existed. You know what? I'm beginning to think that that Democrats don't realize that deleting their tweets, it doesn't actually delete what you said from people's minds. You know, it's not the Infinity Gauntlet. This isn't the Avengers. You can't just she's gonna snap her fingers, right? And that tweet, woo, is gone. Never existed. I never said it. It never happened. Why? Because I deleted it. How about that? This is just the Democratic thing, you know, when they run their mouths so much that they slip up sometimes, and you know what? Sometimes you just gotta snap your fingers and delete that tweet. Delete that tweet right now. Now here's what the tweet said. Like I said, she's celebrating the crude oil prices going to negative values. You absolutely love to see it. This, along with record low interest rates, means it's the right time for a worker-led mass investment in green infrastructure to save our planet. Cough. It's time for a worker-led investment. Okay. So she wants America to get back to work. That's fantastic. That's what everybody else wants. The only problem is she deleted this tweet and now she's taking a different stance. Just yesterday in an interview, she got caught saying, the exact opposite.
When we talk about this idea of reopening society, only in America does the president, when the president tweets about liberation, does he mean go back to work? When we have this discussion about going back or reopening, I think a lot of people should just say, no, we're not going back to that.
What? So, hold on. So which is it? Because you just said it's time for a worker-led, while you were celebrating millions of people being out of a job, you said it was time for a worker-led mass investment in green infrastructure. But now, you know what? When they're talking about reopening, when it's time for America to get back to their jobs, I think we should just say no. No, we're not going back to work. No, we're not. No, we're not going to work for a living. No, thank you. What kind of fairy tale fantasy is she imagining right now? What? Just America where, we don't work for a living. No, we're gonna live off the government. We're all gonna live off the government. We're not going back to work. No, thank you. Okay. Well, if that's not clear enough for you, AOC took to Instagram Live to make she made things worse. She made matters worse. I'm sure she wanted to probably clear the air a little bit. That translation, if you don't speak Democrat, that means save your butt. Clear the air means save your butt. So she went to Instagram Live to clear the air. And just watch. She made things more confusing.
Mass unemployment was a choice. We did not need to lose 20 million jobs. We didn't. We had options.
And the option that we chose was to do nothing, despite the fact that we could have done something to save millions of jobs in this country. And so our political leadership, starting right at the White House and paired right up there with Mitch McConnell, said, we could take bold action right now to guarantee people's jobs and guarantee payroll in this country, or we can allow mass unemployment.
What? Despite the fact that that is a complete lie, that's the exact opposite of what happened, and we'll get into that in a second. But first, make sure you're following the timeline here. This is all in the last week. AOC says it's time for workers to invest in green infrastructure. Delete. Then she says, no, it's time when they say get back to work, it's time to not go back to work. Let's all just not go back to work. Nope, we're not doing it. Okay. And then just yesterday, she says, you know what? Oh, it's their fault. It's their fault. It's the White House and that old chump, Mitch McConnell. You know, he's got his stick up his butt or something. And they're blocking all this aid coming to small businesses. It was their fault. They made the choice to say, no, we're not going to help the small businesses. It's a lie. It's a straight up lie. That's not what happened, and she knows it. She doesn't even blink. She doesn't even miss a second. She lied straight up to millions of people, and she doesn't even care. The White House, you know, I'm sick of this narrative coming from the far left and even centralized media outlets. It's like, well, Trump hasn't done enough. He hasn't done enough. He's been busy fiddling his hands. He's got blood on his hands. That's just not true. It's not true at all. He's done more. He's done more than all of you. What are you doing? Sitting there complaining? He's done more than all of you. And you're just lying. The Trump administration has deployed 2 hospital ships. Even though mainstream media said he would never be able to do that. There's no sign of that happening. Yeah, he did it. Ordered construction of 21 temporary infirmaries housing 8,500 medical station beds. Rallied unprecedented private sector initiatives and public-private partnerships. There are manufacturers that have switched completely over to manufacturing hand sanitizer. That's unheard of. The Trump administration made that happening. The list goes on. He's underwritten 11,000 of 29,000 National Guard personnel, whom governors then could have, they transitioned to active duty. They've called them into active duty because of Trump. The Trump administration got out at least 10.5 million surgical gowns, 55 million N95 masks, 69 million surgical masks, and 523 million gloves. And we all remember New York being all dramatic, being all hysterical, saying we don't have enough ventilators. What are we going to do with 400 ventilators, Trump? We need more than that. Well, the Trump administration reversed that ventilator shortage. The governor of New York is now giving ventilators away. What happened to having not enough? Well, Trump happened. It's such a lie. And while the Trump administration was doing all of this, I've said before, they imposed the China travel ban. 24 hours. Trump took action 24 hours after the World Health Organization issued a global pandemic warning. Trump said, okay, we're cutting off travel. We're cutting off travel from China to non-Americans. Okay, we're going to get our people home, but we're not going to allow anybody else. And everybody was freaking out about this. A month after this happened, Nancy Pelosi was walking the streets of Chinatown in San Francisco saying that, oh well, the president's a racist. It's created this whole xenophobe, and you don't need to be worried about the Chinese and come celebrate with us. She's got 20 cameras surrounding her in her face. Nobody's wearing masks. Nobody's wearing gloves. Everybody's breathing on each other. 2 days after she did that, the first case of coronavirus was issued near San Francisco. Is it connected? I'm not saying that. That would be a reach. But what I am saying is 2 days before all of this craziness really started spinning out of control, the House Majority Leader, the Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, was on the streets of Chinatown saying, yeah, there's nothing to worry about. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? While Trump was getting all of this done, the Democrats, AOC's whole spiel on this is that, well, it was the White House. They were stopping this. They weren't passing this bill. They weren't signing this bill. Oh, it's Mitch McConnell. They weren't passing this bill. No, they were trying to block all this small aid coming to businesses. No, it was you. It was you. It was your leader, Nancy Pelosi. She was the one blocking all of this. The bill would have reached the president on March 22nd if you hadn't treated this thing like your Christmas wish list. The Democrats tried to stuff in subsidizations for windmills, for solar panels. They tried to put a federal ban on voter registration ID cards. What does that have to do with coronavirus? Has nothing to do with getting small businesses the relief that they need from this pandemic. And because you did that, because you stalled for 5 days, the bill didn't reach the president's office for a whole business week. March 27th, 5 entire days. People went without relief that they needed because of you, because of your selfishness. Bloomberg News, initially they titled this piece, Democrats block McConnell push to boost small business aid. But if you notice on the right, the title's changed, but look at the time first. It's only been 90 minutes later. And they realized that was a little bit too truthful. So instead, they changed it to look like, oh, GOP and Democrats are in a standoff about small business aid. No, they're not. You were right the first time. Democrats were blocking it. It wasn't the White House. It wasn't McConnell. McConnell was pushing for it. Republicans were trying to get this through as fast as possible because they recognized that there were small businesses in need. And what did you all do? You stalled. Talked about windmills. Talked about solar panels. Talked about tons of other things that have nothing to do with saving small businesses. I think the thing that bothers me the most is that people just went along with it. On her Instagram, on the live stream, people are just going along with it, saying, "Oh yeah, preach, yes, Queen. Yeah, she's lying right to your face." I don't understand. Her narrative has changed 3 times in 3 days. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Please let me know what you think of it down in the comments below. If you're anything like me, you might be at a loss for words. I don't know. I don't know what to think. Why people like this are in charge of our country. Oh my goodness. I will see you next time. Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. You know what? You deserve a nice pat on the back. Gotta follow social distancing. There we go. Oh yeah, that's nice. That's the good stuff.